And with that geared up tune of our World Cup preview sting, we are live again. I am Somesh Agarwal. I have Nikhil and Gurkirat with me. We will be previewing what is India's first game and probably a very big game in the context of this World Cup, which a lot of people are sort of debating on for all the negative reasons: lack of crowd, not very good outfields, and a lack of buzz in general. But for a lot of other people, the World Cup actually starts today. Nikhil, Gurkirat, how are you folks? It's good that you already know you're letting people know your allegiances with that jerseys. But how are you
I
this
just
morning?
I just wanted to tell you that you could have worn this black had India lost. मतलब तब समझ आता कि you dressed up for the
Yeah,
few.
actually light का issue है. This is navy blue, so I am also as close to India jersey as possible.
चलो ठीक है मान लेते हैं अभी बॉस से और कोच से कितनी बहस करें but yeah I mean a little bit of bias should be allowed today I suppose I knew that Nikhil's going to wear blue so I was like चलो ठीक है might as well compliment Nikhil. I'm not someone who
नहीं,
wears a lot of jerseys
but
so
just an early disclaimer, you will still not find enough bias, even though whatever we may be wearing. So I think those who have seen us enough will know that our alliance is to the game as opposed to a nation or two.
Yeah, we wear our brain on our sleeves, not our hearts. Okay,
Yes.
so to
On
begin with,
that serious note,
yeah, we have just a few moments before the toss, but I would like to know from Nikhil. Maybe you can go first here. Winning the toss. What do you think they should do first, and why?
so I don't think it's as easy. Historically, Chennai has been a venue where you would wanted to bat first because it slows down spinners come into the game, and that's what you feel that okay, it's good, which you can also see in front of your screen in terms of the results that are there. That what do you prefer to do? Because you can see the pace average is there. The spin average will surprise a few, but again, it's something that you'll have to take into consideration. A lot of teams play here with different tactics. Like the first innings average total is 273, which if you feel if the surface is slowing down, you feel it should be enough. But you see, win toss bat is 3, win toss win match win bowl is 2. So there isn't a lot of difference there. So I'm very keen to see if there's a change because again I may sound stupid, but cricket is a very heavily dependent game on conditions. Uh, from what I heard from people who played at this venue, they say that the surface is relayed and the pitch should be tacky to begin with, but it should get better to bat in the evening, and under lights it should come onto the bat better. So it could
Hmm.
still be slow, spin could still play a part, but it should still get better. But again, from the pitch report that I saw just now with Ravi Shastri and Harbhajan Singh, they both reckon it's very dry. So I have no clue. Bottom line is, I am just now going to hope the two teams who are participating, I want to see what they are feeling because that will have a direct impact on what they do. So uh, I will not mind both, to be very honest. If you are batting first, I am more than happy to bat first, get a big score, use your spinners to keep them down. If you are bowling, as I said, as I've been saying in the past, look for wickets all the time, keep them to an underpass score. So even if it is slowing down, you still have to chase lesser than what you should. So just got both the cases out of me before it gets too
Yeah,
late.
I mean, Nikhil has just already presented the entire ideal scenario of this game. Coming to you, Gurkirat. So one thing we know for sure that Shubman Gill won't be participating in this game. A, how big a loss that is for India, and B, I mean, are you looking for any surprises in the 11s, or do you think that it's going to be along predicted lines?
I hope no surprises in the 11. I just hope at number 8 there is Ashwin and Kishan replaces Gill. Gill's a huge loss because he was coming off good form and after that innings that he played versus Bangladesh, you got the confidence that he could be the man for the tricky decks as well. We have the numbers in front of us. Uh, See, when you look at his ODI numbers, there cannot be any doubt. The only doubts that have been with regards to his game, that can he adjust to slower surfaces or tacky surfaces. So I think that was just about it. And when he played those innings, he how he played versus Australia in the series that just happened before the World Cup, there was a lot to feel confident about. I went to the extent of saying that he could be India's MVP. There was slight bias, but it was there for a reason. With him being out, the onus will be a lot on Rohit to now give a good start. He doesn't have great numbers in Chennai in the ODI format, but if you saw him bat in recent times in that last ODI at Rajkot, or when India played Australia last time in Chennai, he was able to time the ball well. So for some reason, whenever he's played T20s in the IPL at Chennai, he's been able to time the ball well, but not just carry on. So maybe if the pitch is slower, it is going to get progressively slower. So you need Rohit to give you that good start so that he can, so that it sets up a platform for the others to come in. Virat, Shreyas, KL, and so on and so forth. So
Hmm.
it's very similar to how he batted in that Sri Lanka game in the Asia Cup,
Hmm.
where Alage took 5 and Aslanka took 4. So if it's a slow deck, then Rohit up top in the power play becomes very important, because you will need to find boundaries then, because the scoring is going to get difficult.
Okay, I mean, now, I mean, for now, since we do not know the 11s, it would be a good point to actually take this question directed at you, Gurkirat. Babar Rao Apte actually feels that India should put Sky up top and let him smash a few. What do you? I mean, just want to know your response to this.
it's 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 not as outrageous as many would think, because if the deck is flat and there is not much swing, he could come off, and he could really do the role that we want Rohit to do, and could just take off from there. With Agar not being there, the things become easier for him, because left arm spin, as we have found out, has been his kryptonite. But
Hmm.
again, there is Stark, and if Stark gets a bit of swing, then it could really get. Then there are chances that he could lose his wicket early. But I think it's a little too radical to begin with. Should just stick to cushion, and for those few matches, you'd have to hope that by that time Gill's fit and ready, uh, because it's not something that Sky would also be expecting. It might
Hmm.
work, it might work. There are days when radical moves can work, but the percentages of those moves succeeding are a little less. And I think we could say the same for Sky's case.
Yeah, and thanks to prompt people in our comment section who are actually very active today, we now know that Australia won the toss and they are batting. So, Nikhil, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I'm just hoping to hear more from the captains in terms of what they feel will happen. The
Hmm.
reason behind opting to bat first. You feel it is something that they feel it should slow down and it is dry, which is why they probably want to bat first and make the most of the good batting conditions. So again, we discussed that scenario.
Yeah.
Works better for India in terms of you get tested early on versus a very good team. You win in a scenario that is not loaded in your favor. It will give you and the setup a lot of confidence. So I'll look at it
Hmm.
that way.
Do you think there can be a bias towards how the game between these two sides panned out in Rajkot as well, the third ODI? Would Australia feel कि भाई that's a better scenario that maybe let's just bat first and see what we can do? Or do you
I
think
think
that
they'll go.
they would not have considered it at all?
I think they would have considered the last Chennai game and not the Rajkot game.
Okay.
Okay, last time they played in Chennai, what happened? Who came good word and what was the basic nature? Because again, it is far more safer to take a risk on playing on the same venue and expecting it to behave similarly. But again, those were very two different times of the year. So again, the second scenario that I said, okay, under lights it gets better to bat. If it turns out to be that, then it would be a blessing in disguise. So happy they didn't have lost the toss in that scenario, because that unknown with pitches will remain till we have
Hmm.
till we have a game on every venue.
I
Yeah,
think
and
it's not, I think it's not just that, but it's also other factors, like how India have also not chased a big score in recent times. Australia have also struggled with their middle order collapsing quite often, and Australia knowing that outside of Maxwell in that middle order, there's no one really who could really combat that Kuldeep factor. And we saw that how spin spin bowlers are bowling better in the second innings. So it's a combination of factors. Australia also feel that batting up first on a fresher deck allows their batters, especially the middle order, to do considerably well than if they have to bat second, because they would have expected India to play three spinners.
Hmm. Gurgat, sticking with you now that we have confirmed that Ishan Kishan is playing in place of Shubman Gill. I have a very tactical question to ask. We've often seen that with Gill as his batting partner, Rohit Sharma is someone who takes the aggressive route and allows Gill to take his time, where Rohit is utilizing the power play. Now, with Kishan in the 11, do you feel there's a case for role reversal where Rohit takes the Gill role and allow Kishan to sort of dominate the power play, or do you think Rohit should not temper with his approach?
It's a difficult one to call because Rohit has got reasonable success with this approach, and Kishan's also someone who rarely deals a lot with boundaries. I mean, both these players are the kind who don't rely so much on strike rotation, but look to find those boundaries. I don't know if they feel that the conditions are such that they could really come out all attacking. They might do that. The good thing is that India are batting second, so they'll exactly know what the conditions would be. Like if the pitch is slowing down after the first power play, so they will bat accordingly. From that respect, India batting second is a blessing in disguise, because if they were batting first, maybe there would have been confusion in terms of how you want to pace that innings. Because yeah, like I said, Kishan's also not someone who's reliant on strike rotation a lot. He also likes to take his chances, and I'm not sure if Rohit would have wanted to do the other way around also.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is the 11 guys. Now we know it. I mean, it's along the predicted lines. Ravichandran Ashwin is actually playing ahead of Shardul Thakur, and no surprises there with both Bumrah and Siraj playing. Similarly for Australia, it's again Sean Abbott is playing. They have Zampa as a spinner, and of course
Oh,
Maxwell to
no
counter him.
Stoinis,
So
no
no
Yeah,
Stoinis,
he's
no
not
Stoinis.
fit.
Green.
He's not fit.
Who's
Yeah, and
Stoinis?
Yeah.
yeah, and no, yeah, there is Green as well. So who else is missing? There must be someone missing. I think Green is there and not Sean Abbott. So I think there is some confusion on that regard. But I'm pretty sure Green is playing ahead of Sean Abbott.
Yeah, Green is playing and John
Yeah,
Abbott is
Green
not
is
playing.
there. Green is
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Green's gone.
So apologies for that one. We'll get that graphic updated pretty soon. I mean, it's almost 50 of you watching now. 53. Please give us a like. We should be expecting at least 50 likes on this stream, if not more. Uh, we'll move on to the next segment, which wherein we'll talk about the X factors. So just be prepared, both of you. Okay, I'll start with Nikhil. You first. One X factor for each team. Who do you think is holds the key for this game?
Yeah, very difficult to take just one name. So I'm sure maybe both of us will eventually take out 4 or 5 names that are very good for the day.
नहीं, ऐसा मत
Uh,
करो ना. Just pick one. That's the challenge. I mean, if you pick 4 5, that then it becomes
yeah,
easier.
see, I'll probably slightly tougher, but I expect Hardik to do well. Again, my logic there is Hardik is someone who we've seen loves to play Australia, and the logic there is also that combination that India has, Siraj, Bumrah, Kuldeep. Now, if you are not going to look to attack these guys, you are probably looking to attack Hardik. That's where I feel he could come into the game. And again, how many overs he'll bowl is something that we don't know, but I still expect him to come on first change. But again, the first change could also mean a spinner here, which will not be a surprise. But with the chase as well, I think Hardik is someone who I trust him to come good to be able to step up, because that's what is done usually against England and Australia in general. So my India's X factor, I don't know how many will call it X factor, but it is Hardik Pandya. From Australia, I would be very tempted to take a very left field choice in Marnus. I feel while batting first, he could still have a lot more value to add in terms of being there. See, Glenn Maxwell is a very straight option, so I'm leaving Maxwell for Paji if he wants to take him. But Marnus is the one that I feel could really have a very good innings. It may not be a big one, but I'm expecting And the thing, I think we can look at this later as well. I feel Manas gets a lot of starts, but not always does he translate into very good big ones. But today, I feel even that start might be good enough if he gets a good 45-50 at the right time. He could help Australia do well.
Mm, I think quite a. I mean, a left field choice there, Hardik. I can still understand, but I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
how many people would actually go with Marnus here. Gurkirat, I mean,
yeah.
what are your X factors?
Yeah, so like Nikhil was saying, with respect to Indian team, I had four names, and
नहीं
it
नहीं
was
नहीं
एक्सप्लेन करने दो, एक्सप्लेन करने दो. वैसे भी आजकल मैं बहुत शॉर्ट रख रहा हूँ, कभी कभी आज थोड़ा अलाउ प्लीज.
क्या
स्पेशल
बात है चलो
स्पेशल.
ठीक है दिया दिया
So there were four names, and one of them Nikhil has already taken. Like he mentioned, good record versus Australia has always had the tendency to step up. There have been technical deficiencies in Hardik's game, but it has not really stopped him from stepping up come the big day. Uh, he also has a, even though the sample space is small, but he's done well at Chennai. He's done well at Chennai in ODIs. He's picked wickets. He's scored runs. So I'm not going with Hardik. The other name that I'm going for is Rohit Sharma. The reason I'm going for Rohit is I feel he's been in more than decent touch in recent time. He has a great record versus Australia. Otherwise, his numbers as an opener, have we know what his numbers are. I don't think it's something that we need to go into, but still, if you want to have a look at it. But what is a little surprising is his record at Chennai in ODIs. His test record is more than decent. He had that brilliant 100 versus England at Chennai, and he's had got starts at Chennai. I feel today's the day he could really seize it. The other options that I had in my mind were Kuldeep and KL, but Kuldeep bowling first, I think that takes out a little bit of it takes a few things away from him out of his control that the pitch might be better. KL again is someone who's enjoyed batting first a lot more than batting second. So process of elimination ke baad, I've come to the conclusion of Rohit. For,
Actually,
for Australia,
actually, just to add there, Kale's average in chases is 60 in 7 games.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I
just
mean,
just to say, this is
I
Australia.
like the fact how neither of you have picked Virat. You don't want to jinx anything
like,
at the
see,
start of the world.
see Virat's not an X factor anymore. Like,
Exactly.
कितना
OBI.
खेल
He's a
लिया
given. He's a given कि
Yeah.
भाई मतलब 10
but he
games we can expect कि भाई 350-400 रन का टूर्नामेंट तो मिनिमम आना ही आना है.
हाँ मतलब वो है.
I'm saying 10 क्योंकि मतलब सेमीज तक तो ऑब्वियस है उसके बाद देखते हैं क्या होता है.
So there is that. And for Australia, I feel it has to be David Warner. Loads of experience of playing in India, has done well at Chennai. He's actually post this World Cup, he could actually become Australia's second highest run scorer in World Cups. Could take, could leave past Gilchrist and Mark Waugh. And he's been good in World Cups. In 2015, he had an average of 49. Uh, last World Cup also everyone talked about Rohit, but he was just one run behind Rohit. So and he has good numbers versus all Indian bowlers. So I
Hmm.
feel Warner could be that player, and if Warner is able to survive those 10-15 overs, then he'll also be able to handle Kuldeep a lot more better. He'll be able to sort of protect the others from that, from that threat of Kuldeep. So I think it's very difficult to look past Warner. And I was just checking some numbers. His ODI strike rate this year is the best it has been in his entire ODI career. So yeah, hard to look past Warner that way. Coming to Virat, I hope he gets those numbers or he improves those numbers versus Hazelwood in ODIs. I really don't think it's a weakness as such because
Yeah.
other he's scored a lot of runs, but ODIs में पता नहीं क्यों very
A-
bad
the
number.
average of average in digits has to be an aberration. Talking about
Yeah,
Virat, guys,
Yeah.
I mean, since that name has been brought up, I just want to give a fun fact right now. He's played 8 ODIs in Chennai. In 4 of those, he's
Yeah.
gotten out in single digits, and in
Single digits.
other four, he
50
scored 50
plus.
plus. तो मतलब बीच के कोई संभावना नहीं है. It's either here or फिर तो पूरा उस पार ही है. So
Yeah,
hopefully it's the other way around today.
Last ODI at Chennai was a 50. So
Yeah, let's see. People are chipping in with their X factors. I'll just name a few neural hacks with Vasant saying Carey for Australia and Iyer or Kale for India. Vasant, you have to pick one. That's the trick.
Challenge.
That's the challenge. Yeah. Chuchan saying X factor Maxi. Maxi is also someone who Paji is
Yeah.
actually has mentioned that he's vying for a player of the tournament kind of a World Cup. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, X Factor Mitchell Marsh saying Pratap
Again,
Manili.
yeah.
But I think talking about Mitchell Marsh, the X Factor, actually it will be a good segue to the next segment, which is the key battles. Yep. So this is a segment which I particularly like because it gives me an opportunity to uh, talk about the cricket.com app as well. So again, Nikhil, starting with you first, what are the key matchups, key battles that you're looking forward to? What does the Crickletic suggests?
Yes, one very good surprise matchup that I promised in my tweet is something that I don't know many people would have seen, but Steve Smith versus Hardik Pandya. Please have a look. 26 balls, 23 runs, 3 wickets. As
Amazing.
good as good as it can get. And again, the kind of bowler that you don't think should trouble Smith, but he's just found a way. And I'm hoping it doesn't come down to him. Maybe he gets out earlier. But if it does, because I've also had Hardik as my X factor, I would not mind him taking him out.
See, Hardik has been a giant killer of late. I mean, none of us can forget the ball that he bowled to Babar Azam recently.
Yeah. Yep.
So, no surprises there, at least for me. Gurkirat, who are you? What is your battle of sorts that you're looking forward to?
Uh, I actually want to see both Indian pacers versus the Australian openers. Both Indian pacers actually have good numbers versus right-handers. For Bumrah, the difference is not massive, but I think Siraj actually has a good chance of taking out Warner with that, that slider that he bowls, which just holds its line. He's taken many left-handers out that way. So I'm looking for that battle because I think that's going to be the key. Because I mentioned if Warner's not getting out in the first 10-15, then he rarely can take the game away from India. And what he'll do is he'll be able to maximize. He'll find a way so that other Aussie batters can maximize their strengths. So I'm looking at this battle in the first innings, and in the second innings, it goes without saying it has to be Stark's threat of left arm pace versus both Rohit and Virat. I know for Virat, he's not had great numbers versus Virat, but that threat is very obvious. India have had left arm pace as their bogey in big games, so I think it's as obvious as it comes in that regard.
Yeah, I think Gurkirat being very comprehensive there because for a moment I thought that I'll be able to plug in that Rohit Sharma versus Stark all matchup, but I think he's already mentioned it. But for the record, since in ODI since 2021, I'll just read out the stats here. Rohit Sharma has been averaging 28.8 against left-arm pacers, and this is 6 dismissals. So not a small sample size either. So actually, I'm looking forward to how he counters Stark today. Guys, talking about Mitchell Stark, okay, we'll come to Mitchell Stark in a moment, but I will just take a few comments where people have pitched in their matchups. Sanjay agreeing with Gurkirat here. He wants to look at Hyderabad boy versus Hyderabad ex-franchise captain, which is Siraj versus Warner. A lot of people are actually looking forward to Ashwin versus Maxwell. Sanjay, also Prateek. So that's a good battle. Guys, talking about Mitchell Stark. Now, is it fair to say that Australia's chances in this World Cup hinges on Mitchell Stark, or do you think it is too sort of individualizing a team sport?
Yeah, I think a thing like World Cup, you can never be reliant on just one player. Right through, Ashwin said a very good thing in that video series that he had on YouTube that come the World Cup, right at various stages, you'll have many opportunities for many players to step up, and it will be very
True,
hard if you depend on just one guy. So, like the
true.
depend now, I'm just relating it to Shakib dependency. Okay, एक player में if you end up depending, see there are a lot of holes for Australia to plug in terms of the all-rounder spot with Green, the form of Pat Cummins, Hazelwood at times has blown hot and cold. So there are various factors which may not allow Stark to always be at his best. So that is why I feel he will need some support from the other end. And Akela, he'll not be, even if he comes good, it doesn't ensure that Australia will do well.
Okay, so I'll just tweak my question here a bit. And guys, 60 of you watching, I think from 50 now, we should be expecting at least 60 likes. So please hit the like button.
Yes.
Gurkirat, I'll just tweak my question. Now, with Stark delivering, Australia might still not able to sort of go the distance if others don't chip in. My question is, let's say if Stark is misfiring, does that mean that their chances of actually qualifying or maybe entering the final and winning the entire thing will be drastically down?
Yeah, it's will definitely get dented. It's like saying if Bumrah doesn't turn up, will
Yeah.
India's chances go down? It will go down. It goes without saying. Uh, I think every team will have 3 to 4 pillars in their 11.
But is, is
Who
is he the main pillar for Australia? That's the bigger question here. I mean, I
in the
understand the point. It's a team sport at the end of the day, but there has to be one player who's like 9.9, whereas the others are
so
9.6
so
or
I'll say
9.7.
those pillars in the Australian team for me are Warner, Maxwell, Zampa, and Stark. One of
Okay.
them have a bad tournament, it will have a cascading effect on others.
Hmm,
It's
hmm,
similar in India. In India's term, you'll have to say it's Kuldeep, Hardik, just Bumrah, and then one of the top three. Now, if all three top three, I'm saying one of the top three because in recent times India have had one of them, clicking together. But if there is any game where one of the top three is not able to do anything, it will have a cascading effect on your 4 and 5, regardless of how good they have been. Because India don't have very good batting at 7, 8, even
hmm.
6 sometimes could misfire. So, see, those pillars are there. It's very difficult to sort of say who will have a greater impact because, like Nikhil mentioned when we began this show, that uh, cricket's a very conditions oriented game.
Yeah.
So if there are conditions where one of your those pillars can be neutralized just through conditions itself, then you need those other three to step up. So, or
Uh,
sometimes conditions could be such that that absence of one of those pillars doesn't really count as much because you've done decently. Your other players have chipped in. So very difficult to decide who's a bigger pillar.
Hmm. Okay, Nikhil. Now Australia are batting first. Since 2021, they have the lowest balls per wicket record against spin. At second lowest after Netherlands. So I'm just saying lowest just for the sake of it among the major teams here. So do you think that them betting first actually brings in Indian spinners more into play?
Yeah, fair it does. And also the point that I made about conditions, it should be a bit tacky to begin with. And the fact that India are playing Ashwin as well, that could really bring those spinners because then you may bowl a couple of overs with pace early on, but you could immediately go to Ash, Jadeja, and Kuldeep earlier. Maybe Kuldeep, you can still hold on to him because you don't want to bowl him in the power play, but it will bring them into the game earlier. And the the thing which is why I picked Marnus as my X factor is here in a game like today, I expect Australia to just be attacking from one end. I don't think they'll be thinking, okay, if it's dry, you don't have to get 300 plus. Even a score of 260, 250, if it is dry, because Rohit also said it is supposed to slow down and it will spin more. So then the target in your mind is also such that you don't have to attack. So that will make it a very good contest to view. If India are looking for wickets and Australia are not wanting, happy to not score and
Hmm,
maybe defend, that could really bring a lot of exciting battles to watch. Then your mindset is different. An attacking
hmm.
Maxwell versus a defending Maxwell versus the likes of Ashwin and Kuldeep, it's a very different battle to watch.
Okay, absolutely. And of course, we will be back after the first innings to discuss how this innings
Yeah.
pans because for all India games, we'll be having the mid innings show as well. There's an interesting question by Rajesh and something that we often have brought up in our conversation, Gurkirat. I mean, this is a game where Australia actually needed Agar for. How will a miss will he be? And if he would have been in the squad, who he would have been, in for?
Replace.
Uh, would have been in for. See, there's only one pacer that you can drop.
Or maybe they can drop Green. I mean, go a batter light.
That's too risky in today's
Too
times
risky,
for
yeah,
teams
possibly.
to try out.
But with
Yes,
Hazelwood's
yes, yeah,
record
I'm
against
saying
Kohli,
Agar can bat. See, that record against Kohli is a huge aberration. It's
yeah.
like it's like Hansi Krone versus Sachin. Now you
Hmm.
can't say that it's a weakness. It's just है वो record उसका कुछ.
Catch नहीं कर
So
सकते.
so yeah, I mean, if they had to drop a pacer, it would have been Hazelwood because Cummings cannot be dropped as the captain. I'm not saying that Cummings is predominantly a better bowler than Hazelwood in this format. I think it's a 19-20 call, and Stark was not going to get dropped, so he would have come in either for Hazelwood. Maybe he would have come in for Green had you had Maxwell having more game time, or if or if there was Travis Head in the 11, because Travis Head, with his form and everything, would have made sure that this batting lineup is very strong. So they would have probably compensated for it in some way. But I think the likely choices that he would have come in for Hazelwood if he was there, and yeah, it would be a big miss because as you keep talking about, so many right-handers in the Indian 11. So
Maybe not today. One fewer today. So, but Sanjay is saying he would have been in for Manas, who would have been in the squad. I don't think so. I think with Head injured, Manas was always supposed to be in the squad. They would have
Yeah.
found another option for fitting in Agar. Maybe, who knows? Head would have been properly ruled out of the tournament itself then. Yeah, I mean, we are a few minutes away from the start of the game. So now would be a good time to take predictions, guys. Not just you, with everyone who's watching. What do you think is the sort of a target that Australia would be looking for, and the sort of target that they would actually achieve?
Yeah, I think I'll go with VVS again. They'll want to get to around 280, and that would be a very good score if it's dry and spinning. Uh, for India's sake, I'll hope they are kept down to 230, 240.
Hmm. 230,
Ajit,
240. I mean, India will take it, Gurkeerat. What do you think?
of course.
yeah, 270, 280 is something you could think would make for a good chase. If India are able to 230, 240, I think thoda kam ho gaya, but if it's around 250, India should fancy their chances. That, see, if you're not able to chase 250, then you really can't hope for much going forward. But yeah, ideally nothing less than 300 is what Australia would want. But
But
uh,
even on a dry deck that you feel will turn 300 चाहिए तो
अभी
बहुत
वो
अच्छा
पता
बैटिंग
नहीं है
करोगे.
ना. That's what I'm saying. I think
हाँ.
अभी वो we can't say, but if it does turn out to be the standard Indian deck or what we have seen so far, then they probably want more than 300. But if it's a dry one or like how it was last time, then 280 would be more than enough because Australia got 269, India couldn't chase 270. So
Yeah.
10 runs more than that, or if it's a similar deck, 10 runs more than that definitely help.
Abbas
So yeah.
Kunde, I mean, I've seen him after a while. He's saying around 280, and he's also happy that his
Mm.
thinking is similar to Nikhil. Greg is saying 340 or 230. So Greg is thinking that
Oh,
England is the new, oh, sorry, Australia is the new
Australia
England.
and New England.
Yeah, Vasant is going with 282, which is also close. I have a feeling that India would have to chase around 260 and will need a Hardik special today. Let's see. Let's see.
India chasing 260 has good memories on a slow dry deck.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everyone would want good memories only starting of the tournament. I'm
Exactly.
also expecting that uh, at last, I'm hoping that at last we have won the first close game of the tournament. Prateek Thakre in the comments saying 257. That should be a good chase as well, guys. Please, like I've been harping about, like a broken record, do like this stream. We'd be back during the mid innings interval. It's almost time for the first ball, so would be a good point to end the show. Sanjay saying 263 while Gurkirat wants to add something. Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you know plug-in करना है?
Did you know plug in करना है? हाँ हाँ मैं उसके बिना नहीं जाऊंगा. Don't worry. Yeah, I mean, not a bad day to recall Kapil Paji when we have Gurkirat Paji here. So he became the
We share
first
the
ever.
we have our birthday on the same days.
Exactly, that's
Wow.
the
I
reason.
share my birthday with Kapil Dev.
That's the reason why I brought this up. Although I completely forgot that they share the birthdays. It's just that Paji thing. So Kapil Dev became the first Indian bowler to pick a 5-wicket haul, and he actually did it against Australia in 1983. So let's hope there is a 5-wicket haul loading somewhere from Indian perspective. With that, I think it's almost time to end the show. Please like this stream. It really helps our cause. It helps us reach to a wider base, and hope we are just here trying to do a better job than others who
And
have
talking about the Pakistan game.
who have far more resources than us, but still don't do such a comprehensive job and make our lives easier in terms of matching expectations of the what the cricket fans actually deserve. So with that, we'll see you in hopefully 3.5 hours. Till then, it's just goodbye from me, goodbye from Nikhil and Gurkirat as well.
Cheers.